Hey guys, it's Dana and it's Tuesday, so we're going to talk about money and we're going to discuss your paper and how organizing it can really help you to save money and get control of your finances. So if you're an avid YouTube video viewer, then you've probably heard of the KonMari Method. I know a lot of YouTubers have talked about it. If you haven't, there was a book written by Marie Kondo called The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And we're just gonna discuss one section of it, which is paper. So organizing your paper products. And basically, Marie talks about only keeping things that bring you joy. And there's 3 separate categories for paper that you're supposed to put your paper products in. But I decided to go through my office space because there's just paper flying everywhere. I couldn't find something the other day. I was looking for my tax ID number and I couldn't locate it. So I was getting really frustrated and I realized I needed to organize all of our paper. And so I figured I'd talk about it in a video. Why not? All right, so first of all, if you have a lot of statements flying around, you might have bank statements, credit card statements, you might have mutual fund statements, and they're just flying everywhere. And I don't know how well that's really serving you. And a lot of things now you can set up electronic statements. So we don't receive any statements anymore. But in going through this process, I found a lot of old statements that we had from a while ago, and I don't know why I'm holding on to them. But it's, then you might want to select electronic. You might want to think about going through all of your accounts and not receiving any more paper statements because, like I said, you can get them electronically now. And then I think it's also a security risk in a way to be having these kind of things floating around. And if you do get rid of them, you want to shred them, because if you just put them in your trash can, then that's where the security risk comes in. People can get your account numbers and things off of these paper statements that you're just throwing in the trash. So as you go through organizing your papers, be very careful that when you get rid of stuff, you're shredding it to maintain your privacy, okay? All right, so Marie Kondo says that there are 3 categories that you want to separate your papers into. First category is needs attention. Second category is short-term storage. Third category is you're going to keep it forever. Now, that third category I think is really important if you have ever had to fight something that was in collections and you were able to settle it, or if they agreed to a certain amount, you want to keep that paperwork forever. So this category really made me think of that, because I've had some things in my past where I had to fight it and then they would send me a letter saying they agreed it was settled. And those are the things you never want to get rid of. You really want to hold on to those things in case they ever come back to haunt you. You have that written documentation that says that they agreed that the account was closed, that they settled for X amount of dollars. You want to keep that forever. I just wanted to repeat that because I think it's really important as you're going through your paperwork to find that stuff, keep it together, label it well, and make sure you are keeping it forever. So when you're trying to get out of debt, first thing you're supposed to do is list down your debts from smallest to largest, and knowing what you have, right? So just like when you're trying to get out of debt, you need to know all of your debts in order to pay them off. And so with your paperwork and everything, you need to know where everything is. If you're disorganized, it's sort of like letting money just fly out the window or walk out the door, because you might have things flying around. And let's say that you did have an old an old debt come back to haunt you, something that you had settled. Then if you can't find that paperwork, it's going to add to your stress level. And so having everything really organized, I think, is vital. And it could save you money, because if you can't find that paperwork, you might end up paying something again that you don't need to be because you've already settled it. All right, so showing my paperwork to you guys was kind of complicated because I want to make sure I'm being careful and not sharing too much. But so let's talk about that first category of things that need to be addressed right away. So when bills come in or whatever, I open it immediately, or try to, and then I take it and I paper clip it. Or binder clip it. I binder clip it together, and then I put it into my purse or my work briefcase, and I have that with me. So I like to just get like a this is just a blue color, but you have one little binder clip and you clip it together so it's always together. You stay on top of it, you address it immediately, and then you put it somewhere that you know you're going to be able to get to it, to review it often, your purse, or if you have a box or some place that you want to put it. So let me show you my different organizing methods that I have for paperwork though. All right, so this is one of my favorite things, and I flip the paper around so you can't see what's in here, but I have 3 of these and they have different colors on them. I picked it up at Staples and it's like a plastic folder with a zip thing, and I put this in my briefcase for work. And so I have one that has like the kids' school forms in here, like if they have camp registration forms or whatever, then I can put that in there because this is like short-term storage that I need to keep things that they have that they've registered for, or anything that has to do with school for the kids or registration, or I don't know, just something like that we would need, you know, in a couple months or whatever. It goes into this folder. And then I have another folder for things that, not long-term storage, but that I need to hang on to and have with me. I don't know what's in there. Let me think. What's in there? Oh, child abuse clearance. So that's in the other one. I have to have that up to date every year to volunteer at the kids' school. So that's in the other folder, the long-term storage, because every year I need that. They keep it on file for 3 years, but every year I have to reapply. So I have that in there, carry that around with me. Or you don't have to carry it around with you, but medical forms, health insurance stuff that we need. So you could use folders like that. I love these mesh, what would you call these? I don't know, what are these officially called? All right, so I got these at IKEA, and I think these are really cute. And so you could get 3 of these and like put them on a shelf next to each other. And then these could be your 3 categories with your folders inside of them to keep everything really neat and organized. I love these. I have 2 of these. I think I might want to get a 3rd one. And then I have these extra large, I don't know what anything's called. What is this thing? An extra large folder where I keep all of our taxes. So every year I have a different tax folder, and then when it's done that year, I stick it into this big red folder. And actually, you're only supposed to keep taxes for 7 years. I have longer than 7 years. I need to shred some of these. I got to do that. So you need 7 years worth of taxes, and I stick my tax folders inside this big red folder to keep them contained. So in going through this, I have found tickets to Wonderland Pier at Ocean City, New Jersey. So these are good for ever. So I definitely don't want to lose these. So I found some tickets for the rides. So I have a vacation folder where like if we had any reservations or anything, then that goes in here, which I want to hold on to. Again, because I make a deposit for a rental house or something, I want to make sure I keep that receipt and keep that organized, and I have that on hand when we go in case there's any question about what we paid or how much, and I want to have a record of that. So we have a vacation folder. I actually have what's called an Uncle Dave folder, and anytime I pay off anything, if there's a debt paid off, I put that letter, the final letter. I remember when I paid off my school loan, it was so exciting to get that letter and say that it was paid in full. And so I stick it in here just so I have a record of things that we've paid off, because that's really motivating on top of just wanting to keep that letter, like I talked about earlier in the video, just to have proof that it's paid in full. So nobody can come back and say you still owe on that. Okay, I have a folder called D. Ryan, which is my name, and in this folder I keep performance appraisals for my job and like offer letters and things in my career. And I like to have these just because I feel like going forward in interviews and stuff, I like to know, the good performance appraisals I've had and what's been said about me. Just kind of helps as a reminder sometimes to review before I go in for an interview, just to kind of also remember what I was doing at those different companies that I worked. And so I have a D. Ryan folder. All right, sitting on my bookshelf here in my office, I have this rack, which this is another idea for how to categorize things. Maybe if you really get your papers down, you could do something with 3 shelves, which would be really cool. That would be really awesome if you got all your papers down, that they could fit on just these 3 shelves for your 3 categories. And then you actually could do your needs attention immediately at the top, and then middle could be short term, and the bottom shelf could be your long-term storage. But I have this just sitting on my office desk, and in here I have all my calendars. So I wanted to show my calendars to you. Let me put this down, it's heavy. I have one of these calendars every single year, and I think I'm probably keeping too many maybe at this point, but it goes all the way back to the year that I was married. So I kind of want to keep them. This is sort of sentimental. I'm keeping for sentimental, I guess. Also because I can look back and see stuff on here, which is important. But so this is 2014. I get these at Staples every year. I hope they never stop making them. So you can see I like that I can hang it from this little hook, and then it has the whole month at a glance. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I like this to keep me organized. And it's paper, I consider it in my paper, because you can see here what I do is I circle, let me see, is there anything on here you shouldn't be seeing? I think I'm okay. All right, so you can see that I circle the day I get paid. So I get paid here. So like when the paycheck comes in, I circle that day. So then I kind of know when I get paid, and then the next week actually my husband gets paid. So every week we're getting a paycheck, but then it kind of helps me just, to know when the money's coming in, which is nice. And then I can see it at a glance. I just circle that day. All right. And then I have this folder, which I just think is fun. So that's why I'm showing it to you. So I have this folder, it's called Top Secret Mission. And I just put, anything in here that's random that I just need to look at soonish. And so this is just kind of like a cycle folder, but I think it's kind of fun to have a top secret mission folder. So I do. Also, I have a folder with my home address on it, so I can't show you, that has home repairs. So I think it's important to save your receipts if you have a home and you are doing things to the house, anything plumbing, electrical work, landscaping, to keep your receipts, number one, in case you are going to be reselling in the next few years, to have a record of the work that you've done on the home, which buyers usually do like to see that. Also to help you with budgeting as far as about how much you're spending on home repairs and what you might need to spend if something were to break again. So it's good just to have a history of the things that you've had repaired in the home. And so that's why I always hang on to those receipts, especially like if they're over, if it's something really minor. But even those I keep too. Like anytime the plumber comes out, I always keep a copy of the receipt so I can see what we've done. And then also if something happens, if it breaks again, you have that receipt where you can go back to them and see if there's any kind of, if their work is guaranteed, if they're going to come back and fix that up again for you. If it's within a certain time frame, you have a record of when it was done and by whom, maybe which technician did the work, may also become important. So I always hold on to those receipts. And then just as like another option, you also could use a binder where you could put in separators if you want to use a binder for your long-term keep category and stick things in there. And then you could have 3 binders if you wanted even short-term, long-term, and then something that needs to be addressed immediately could be in that binder. You'd have to punch holes in everything, which is why I don't really do that. Okay, and then you could also get these kind of boxes. I love these boxes. They sit on shelves for me, and sometimes I just stack up some folders within here. So if you had 3 of these, again, this would be easy. If you just wanted to use one of these maybe for your first category of needs immediate attention, you could stick stuff in here. So I have just a bunch of different files in here that this is kind of long-term keep for me. This is stuff in here like, I think the inspection is in here from when we first got the house. I like to keep that, just to have a record of it, but I never need to look at that, so that's in here. Also, our loan paperwork for our mortgage is in here. I never need to look at that. So I just have that, stacked up in these folders under here, and then on top here, that's me. That was a sponsorship proposal I had made a long time ago. All right, so this is long-term keep, but another idea for you of how you could organize your paperwork. All right, so that's it. Hopefully I gave you some ideas or helped to motivate you to go through your paperwork. That's what I think is most important, is that you take some time to go through all your paperwork, see what you have, shred old statements, look into signing up for electronic statements to be delivered to you. Make sure you are keeping your old settlement agreements, if you had anything in collections or old debt that you had settled, or they told you it was paid in full. Definitely keep that together, organized, labeled in a certain section, whether it be a binder, a folder, however you want to do it, but in your keep forever category. And I do think that when you keep things organized, then it does save you money. All right, so I'm here every single Tuesday with a new video talking all about money, and hopefully I can help to inspire you to get out of debt, because I really do believe that the borrower is slave to the lender. And my dream is that everybody will be out of debt, and in the future my kids will live in a culture where it is not the norm to borrow all the money that a lot of people do today and think that it's normal and it's acceptable. So that's my dream, is that we will change in our thinking into believing that debt is not good. All right, so thank you for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.